Starbucks is planning another round of store closures and job cuts due to slumping sales in the U.S. In a statement sent to employees, the CEO said around 900 corporate staffers would be laid off. That's on top of the 1,100 jobs that were cut earlier this year. Starbucks also plans to close underperforming coffee houses across North America. The company's recent financial struggles have scared investors, with its stock price falling by more than 12% over the past year.
This is hilarious.
So I made a video yesterday talking about how Starbucks is closing hundreds of stores and laying off about 900 workers. But I didn't make something really clear because there's some confusion in the comments about it. The 900 workers that they're laying off are only corporate and support staff. The hundreds of stores that they're closing, that's all the baristas. And I wanted to put this into perspective because when I worked at Starbucks, we had about 20 baristas / shift supervisors. And if 100 Starbucks stores close that have 20 employees, that's 2,000 employees that are now out of a job. Some of them may be able to transfer, but not every single one of them is going to be able to transfer. And Starbucks said hundreds of stores, not just 100, hundreds of stores. So there's going to be thousands of Starbucks baristas that are just going to be laid off, and they get, if any notice, a couple of days. So go to the Starbucks store that you usually go to, and if you find out that they're one of the stores that are closing, offer what you can. If that's more tip money, amazing. If you know of gigs that are hiring, if you know of jobs that are hiring, if you work at a job that's hiring, let them know, because a lot of these baristas are going to be without a job. And we all know they're getting paid shit anyway, so it's not like they have thousands of dollars saved up until they get another job.
Hi, I'm a Starbucks employee in downtown Toronto, and I just received a call from my manager that our entire team is fired. We are a high traffic store. We had almost 100% customer satisfaction rate. Why are we fired? We asked, could we be relocated in any other store? Because most of us were full-time. All of us have rent to pay. Some of us are parents. We have kids to care about. There was absolutely no signs of closure. Right now, it is September 25th. Last day of operation is September 27th. For such a huge company, this is unacceptable. There will be a union formed and we will fight back. What the entire idea of Starbucks, we care about the quality of our coffee. We care about the planet. We care about our partners. No, you don't. No, you don't. What the I ask everybody on social media to ban Starbucks. Do not go to Starbucks. Support Tim Hortons. Never, never, never treat with respect company that doesn't care about its workers. If Starbucks thinks that it's just gonna fly away like this, that they can fire an entire store with people with rent, who are parents, who have to take care of themselves.
This is hilarious. Starbucks is restructuring and closing over 450 stores across North America. These stores they're closing are stores that aren't performing well. They're underperforming according to the target of the company. Anyway, cities like New York, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Seattle, they're closing over 450 stores. This means that over 900 people are going to lose their jobs.
This is unacceptable. This is not reasonable. And this is just a shame for a company that big, worldwide company. Shame on Starbucks. Shame.
Starbucks closing down 400 potential locations. 900 corporate employees laid off. Who goes to Starbucks anymore? I don't go to Starbucks anymore. Do you guys go to Starbucks anymore? Terrible service. They're out of pretty much most food items or drink ingredients every time you go. They don't have the right inventory. There's one on every corner of every street. How do they expect every single store to be profitable when they're sharing business? If you work for Starbucks and you already want to be proactive and you want new opportunities or you want to implement yourself back into the job market, send me a message. We can talk. I can help you with your resume. I can help you with some interview skill sets. We can go from there.
I would like to know when CEOs of these massive corporations will realize that people aren't going to your stores because they simply can't afford it. So no matter how many workers you let go, no matter how many stores close, you're not getting the memo. Brian Nickel, who used to be the CEO of Chipotle, said in a memo to employees on Thursday that he will lay off workers and close stores as part of a $1 billion restructuring plan. You can't restructure your way out of the fact that people are broke, sir. All right? Lower the costs of those drinks. You'll see people come back at a more affordable price. No one is paying $6 and $7 for coffee anymore. They can't afford it. And eventually restructure your pricing. That's all you have to do, or offer more if you can't restructure it. Give incentives for people to come into Starbucks. Give free refills. Back in the day, Starbucks used to have the gold card. I remember this because I was living in Seattle at the time, and I love that card. They treated you like royalty when you walked in with that gold card. I mean, you could do no wrong. It was free refills, free pumps, free whatever, and you just wanted to sit in there and work all the time because you were treated well. Bring that back.
Whose disposable incomes are just disappearing because of the rise in prices. And that's affecting the travel industry. So you got the Spirit Airlines announcement today, and then you've got the Starbucks announcement. Now, you know we're in a bad economic state when Starbucks announces that they're closing down stores and they're restricting new hiring at many of their locations. When you get laid off somewhere and you can't find a job opening at a local Starbucks, you know that we're in trouble. And this hurts college students who are trying to pay for very expensive college because a lot of them work or are trying to work at Starbucks. This is like really bad news. Will Trump supporters finally see that this administration is affecting them with their very kitchen table issues that affect us all? I don't know. We already know that farming is being decimated by this administration. And my husband and I just drove by a very rundown farm. And this farmer took the time and the funds to either purchase or rent a commercial lit up sign to put on the side of the road. And this is what this farmer chose to put on his sign. The Democratic Party is the demon within.
Well, friends, I'm here to share that I found out today that I am no longer employed by the Starbucks Coffee Company. I don't know how many of you on here ever knew that that was my employer, but I was impacted by this round of layoffs, and I've decided, because why not, I'm going to document the journey. So if you haven't met me, I'm Sadie, millennial mom to teenagers and a now 5-year-old who had a full-time corporate career and is still a college student and leaning into whatever the heck comes next. So if you'd like to follow along, that's the journey now. And to anyone else who was impacted by this, reach out. This is a special kind of hurt, I think, for all of us. And I'm here for you, always. Okay, let's go.
Well, in case you needed more evidence that big corporate is definitely a profit over people playbook, Starbucks' latest announcement today shows you that their forced RTO didn't get the results they were looking for. And by results, I mean they didn't get enough people to quit that they had hoped. So now they're resorting to more of a mass layoff and some store closings. And don't be fooled for a minute that this is actually something that's going to help the company, right? Move it forward. This is purely a cost-cutting exercise to get to the profitability. Because if you remember when I posted on this way back when, the C-suite is completely tied to a profitability bonus, right? So they have to take expenses out, and it's not a top line. I'm sure they've got some incentive for top line, but at the end of the day, they need profitability and they need to drive the stock price up. That's all this is. And if you think all the moves today were coincidental, they're not. It's purely about taking expense out of the business because his grand strategy, CEOs, has not worked. So again, when you think about that playbook, it's the forced RTO. hopefully you get people to quit. When they don't quit, then you do layoffs. Right now, I think this is their second big one of the year, which tells me that they're going to miss their quarterly profit number again, and the CEO is under intense pressure to deliver. So anyway, if you're a Gen Xer still hanging out in corporate, waiting for things to get better, they're not going to get better. Starbucks is just one example of, where I think all of corporate's going. They're caught in this bind of, right, profitabilities. They get profits over people, and it's all short-term driven. Plus with AI, I think they're under the illusion that they're going to be able to take expense out and magically get the productivity back. That's not going to happen either. So anyway, so if you still are in corporate and you're looking for an exit strategy, I'm actually hosting a webinar tonight. Today is, what is today? Thursday, September 25th, 5 p.m. Central. It's only in a couple of hours. I'm hosting a webinar on why I truly believe that it's easier to find your first customer than your next job, especially as a Gen Xer, even a millennial, for that matter, is there. And I'm going to spend a few minutes talking about why I believe this, but more importantly, how you can get started and seeing if life outside of corporate's right for you. Because even if you choose not to, at some point, corporate's going to quit on you. Anyway, if you're still in corporate, good luck. And if you are curious about this webinar, it's in the link in the bio. You can see the live events. It's free. Should be about 30, 40 minutes. I'll take questions as well. So, and if you're still in corporate, good luck.
I'm glad Starbucks is putting out shifts and allowing people who got laid off to get their jobs back, but I really want us to be real. Half of those shifts are only for baristas. I'm a supervisor. Those shifts does not fit into my availability for my life. It just doesn't. And once you pick up that shift, that's what you have to work for the next 6 months. So not only would I be inconvenienced again, I'm going to be miserable. I'm an opener. That's what I do. I do not close at all. So not only would I have to be an Energizer bunny to try to get to my phone to email for the shift that I want, it's going to be something that I don't even want to do. And then it still goes by seniority. So if there are 40 people applying for this one position and they've been in the company longer than 3 years, like I have, then guess what? That job is not mine. And the last thing, what if this happens again to more people? It's just not sitting right with me. I'm just going to cut my losses.
I know people are going to look at what's happening in Starbucks and be like, yes, no more Starbucks. I've never liked that company. But it's more than that. The CEO of Starbucks makes almost $100 million a year. And yet he is closing hundreds of stores around the country. He's not doing that because Starbucks is losing money. It's because so many Starbucks stores are unionizing, and he refuses to have people who work at Starbucks and get paid more. The CEO of Starbucks is punishing people for demanding livable wages, literally putting profits over people. People love to talk about, well, capitalism is all about meritocracy. If you work hard, you'll get what's owed to you. What now? Look at all the people who've worked for Starbucks for years. Just regular workers, managers, general managers. They're all out of a job. For what? For wanting livable wages? What's happening with Starbucks isn't rare. Companies do this all the time. They lay off hundreds of employees so the CEO and the board of executives can get an extra bonus at the end of the year. It's a mirror of what late-stage capitalism truly is.
Starbucks is laying off 900 U.S. workers and closing hundreds of locations. And I told you guys that this was going to happen, and this is what the direction they were going in a bunch of other videos. So here's what's happening so far. This is about 1% of U.S. locations. So Starbucks right now has 18,300 coffee shops. And this is going to take them down to about 430 locations, less than they had in June of this year. So the reduction of 900 employees they call current non-retail partner roles. Who knows what that means? Corporate speak for whoever they want. This is going to offer, one good thing from this is that they're at least going to offer severance packages that include benefits extensions. So props to them at least for doing that. And they're hoping that this will uplift 1,000 locations to greater texture, warmth, and layered design, is the line that they put out in the article. So the company recently announced it's going to close 80 to 90 of the pickup locations, which are in more than 20 states. The pickup locations are ones where you are exclusively designed for mobile orders and quick pickup without the wait. So
welcome to late stage capitalism. Your Starbucks barista is now reading a script. The new Starbucks CEO just implemented a literal script for baristas to use when interacting with customers. The script was leaked to the Wall Street Journal and includes suggested greetings, outros, and is detailed to the point of suggesting eye contact at specific times. The move is said to be made based on Starbucks closing over 400 stores, losing market share and revenue to boycotts, tariffs, and just straight up having a lot more competition around. They've been fourth in line behind Dunkin', Dutch Bros, and 7 Brew since 2024. Will giving the baristas a script really be the difference maker that turns everything around? Especially as Starbucks has most recently laid off just under 1,000 employees, is this the kind of difference that can bring more revenue based on the staff that remains? Time will tell. Hit the plus button if you want to stay up to date on more news just like this.
People come from all over the world to come to the roastery, man. Everybody knows Starbucks, man. Starbucks, get your coffee in the morning, maybe a breakfast sandwich or whatever the case is. And Starbucks here is based in Seattle. Now, there's a restaurant called the Starbucks Roastery in the Capitol Hill neighborhood, and it is a different Starbucks, man. If you don't know about this Starbucks, let me tell you about it. This is not your run-of-the-mill, get in your car, get in the drive-thru, get you a latte. I'm talking about this Starbucks. You can walk in and got a full bar. You can get you an espresso martini. You can get you a full entree. You get what I'm saying? People come from all over the world to come to the roastery, man. It's like one of 4 locations in the entire world. It just closed down last week. And Starbucks, CEO has cited that they just weren't making enough money, and that's why they had to close down. And, to be honest, I've been on socials, and I ain't trying to get too controversial here, man, but, the employees at that restaurant had just unionized last year, and they were protesting for higher pay. Mm-hmm. And I just want to ask you, man, do you believe that Starbucks ain't making enough money that they got to close down this roastery, man?
Here's the thing. Starbucks has been struggling for a minute. Starbucks on the market, man, has been a struggling company when it comes down to revenue for a minute. They get a whole bunch of revenue, but when it comes down to seeing profit, it's been a known thing in the market that they've been struggling. So when it comes down to, are they struggling to see that revenue, see that profit? I don't know about if it's struggling so much to close down that key Starbucks roastery, but maybe it's enough to close down the key Starbucks roastery for the fact of maybe paying and being a union to the workers.
Do y'all think that Starbucks is struggling and that's why they got to cut the fat and shut them down?
I want to come in here and talk about the fact that Starbucks has been doing this downsizing or whatever they're calling it. I don't even know. We talked about it for the first time at my store today, that I've heard about anyways, since I've been. I remember whenever I first heard that Starbucks was gonna be doing that, and everyone was finding out that week or last week or this week or whatever, if they're gonna get let go or whatever, if their store's gonna shut down. And I remember going through my head, I was like, okay, logistically thinking, they wouldn't shut down my store because they just opened it. And allegedly they're shutting down stores that are not profitable. And I was like, we're not profitable yet, but our store is still an investment. It's still in the phase of it's gonna make money. It just hasn't yet because people are just now figuring out that we're there. We're in the woods. The sign, you can't really see it till you're right up on it because of the trees and everything that's around. So I was like, surely to goodness that's not mine. Now there's a couple more in my district that I was like, they could go, but we'll take them at our store. We'll take them. But I truly the sadness and anger that I feel for everyone that just got told with maybe a week's notice. I don't even think a full week's notice that they don't have a job anymore. And let me tell you, as someone who's been fired before and did not expect to get it, it's rough when that happens to you, especially if you're paycheck to paycheck, you don't have a big bulk of savings going on or anything like that. And people, you have to keep in mind, Starbucks has a program where people can go to college. So it's not even their bills that they're losing. It's also their college where they're trying to get out of Starbucks. And I've been seeing like the drama and the rumors that like it's union busting, which I don't think that's kind of too far-fetched. Now, I did bring this up to my store manager this morning when we were talking about it, and she was like, I thought the same thing, but no, which she probably honestly has to say that. She probably has to say no. But she said it's stores that aren't profitable. I've clocked a few of the stores that have been affected by this, and like the Starbucks Reserve, you're telling me that the Starbucks Reserve is not profitable to the point where they shut down the OG store. I mean, I guess it just depends on like how much initial cost they have, like what they invest in the store to be able to serve all that, and if they're getting enough in return. I don't own Starbucks, I don't know, but it just, to me, I don't think so. Listen, if you've been affected by this, my heart breaks for you, and I feel so bad for you, and I just want you to know that everyone that still has their job at Starbucks feels the same way. Like everyone that I've talked to so far, like we're all actually like filled with rage for you, because we honestly didn't know if we were going to be included in that or not. Like we were afraid. I mean, if one thing that this company has shown me is that they will make a decision and they will waste no time. And they will do it right then and there. Because they did that with the siren system. They said, nope, stop. My thing is, they had to know that they were going to be doing this well before y'all got told. And I don't see why they don't have the humanity in them to tell you as soon as they have an inkling that they're going to have to do that. Which I don't believe that they have to do that. They just did. I really, I'm manifesting that y'all get the abundance that you need. And I am sorry. And that is awful. And I don't wish that on anyone.
I wanted to come on here to say thank you guys for all your love and support. I just have a little confusion, a little questions, because a lot of people are saying that their store or district manager is telling them that they can apply on the 13th. However, I just had a conversation with my district manager, and she said that they're splitting our severance pay into 2 separate paychecks. That could take up to 4 to 5 weeks to where we're completely paid out, and then that's when you'll be able to apply for your position again. That's one of the questions, I need a for sure answer. If you're a district manager, if you're a store manager who has an exact answer on this, because I'm seeing all mixed reviews where they're saying that we can apply when we get the severance offer. But my district manager said that it could take up to 4 to 5 weeks because that's when the severance pay will be completely paid out. However, my other question is getting back to the pay that I already had. I talked to my district manager yesterday because I sent her an email, not only because it was a little disheartening for me to be let go when that was the only write-up that I've ever had, and I had a near perfect attendance record. My other question was getting back to the pay that I already had. Started in one district. It was a cafe-only store. When I decided to transfer districts because I was moving, it had went down, and I had to start all over again. We're in different income areas. Okay, whatever. But then now when I had talked to my district manager, she was saying that if you do apply, you're going to have to start over. So I should have asked, but I didn't ask for details. Do I have to start over at the base pay of a shift supervisor, or do I have to start over as a barista? Because I know it's really rare when Starbucks goes and hires in outside shift supervisors. They make the shift supervisor start as a barista. Now, I understand that if I do get rehired, I will have to be retrained as a barista technically, but I'm seeing a lot of people say that tenure within 30 days, you'll start where you're at. So I'm just a little confused on the process. Do I have to start back as a barista? Will I be able to negotiate my pay? I asked my district manager this. Will I be able to negotiate my pay? She said no, but I was going to have to start over, which is also a little hopeless. And she even said that I know 4 to 5 weeks is a little out of the range to be out of a job, which yes, it is completely out of the range to be out of a job, especially in this economy. All prices are skyrocketed and people are losing their jobs, which is completely uncalled for. Can't technically apply for unemployment until after this week, because that's when we'll technically be severed from the company, because they're still paying out this 1 week of hours that we were scheduled for. I don't think it's going to be an issue of me telling you guys of how much my store was actually making. Since it's not a store, I don't think it's an issue. Let me know and I'll cut this out of the video. I will say we were struggling. However, I think it's just wrong to think that yes, we were struggling, but I have 2 other Starbuckses not too far from the Starbucks that I'm having being built. My store on average per day, we probably make between 2,000 to 3,000 a day. I feel so bad for the partners who also are out of a job. My whole confusion is that specifically in my area, I had a couple of people either DM me
or write in the comments that there are openings at their stores. If we didn't have positions in our district, you still have other districts that are within driving distance for us to be transferred to. It sucks, and I'm completely upset for my manager. That's like my only hesitation with going back to the company is I don't know when I can reapply. I've been seeing this is just like the first wave. Like apparently there's going to be another wave. So what happens when I get rehired and then I have to go through this again? I just wanted to come on here to show my appreciation. I hope everybody else is doing well. Love you. Bye.
Here's your update on the Starbucks boycott. Today, Starbucks' stock dropped by over 15% after they published their earnings, which missed expectations by a country mile, bringing the total loss in their company's value since the boycotts began to $37.7 billion. It's over a 30% decrease. Starbucks reported a decline in revenue, same-store sales, earnings, foot traffic, and transactions. But Starbucks says that the conflict in the Middle East is weighing on international sales, which is just another way of saying that the boycott is really hurting their business. Because trust me, what's happening in Gaza would have a minimal effect on the company if there were not a boycott going on. The funniest thing about this now is that the news originally tried saying that the boycotts weren't hurting Starbucks when they had already lost $11 billion in value, but now they have to admit it. Now I'm going to remind everybody of all the reasons people are boycotting Starbucks. The main reason is that Starbucks filed a lawsuit against their workers' union when they posted Free Palestine. The second reason is that their workers' union filed a lawsuit back against Starbucks shortly after the boycott started, alleging that Starbucks had sent a list of unionized Starbucks stores to Jewish organizations here in the United States for those Jewish organizations.
Okay, friends, I'm here on day 4 after being laid off from the Starbucks coffee company. On Friday, I had my final connect with Pro, which is HR. Basically, it's one I had to set up for myself, and I did that because I just had some questions about like all the paperwork we got, basically what I can and can't do in this weird period that we're in. And anyway, I got those answers, and now today is like what feels like the start of the new chapter. Like that was the last thing. I mean, I still have to mail back all of my tech once I get a box and like return badges for the secure access that I had for my role, but that's just gonna go in a box. It is what it is. I literally told them today, I'm like, I just want it gone. But I realized I'm gonna get a bigger bin, and I have other Starbucks stuff upstairs in my home. Like I have all my bags, all my shirts, all my coats, all of that stuff that I need to like pack up. And I'm not getting rid of anything I have that's like consumer product from Starbucks. Like, well, I might sell my Stanleys, but like that type of stuff. I'm just talking about stuff that you would only receive if you were a partner. That stuff needs to go in a different bin. And then I just realized this is kind of sad, but also like gross. But this is my coffee from Thursday, the day where my team had a meeting, and then I was in a store after that. And so this was my coffee from that morning, just chilling down here. So I'm gonna get also in a Starbucks cup, obviously. And then, yeah, I'm just on to the rest of the day. Like my daughter is preschool, so I get to take her. I've taken her once since she started months ago because of my work schedule. So that's refreshing. And yeah, I'm just going to continue on with this new normal. I'm still crying a lot. I've really got to get over that. I think some sleep and going back to the gym, and like I ordered groceries yesterday. I had to have them delivered from another grocery store that doesn't have a Starbucks in it because I just couldn't bring myself to go to any of the stores. All of the grocery stores within a reasonable radius around me were stores that I supported in my portfolio. So I just needed a minute. But yeah, so life is going to continue. I mean, I knew it would. It's just it's tough. We got to see the Northern Lights last night. Now I'm just talking at you. I don't want to talk at you unless you want me to talk at you like this. I don't even know.
Thank you for watching Great Minds Blacks.